Hello, hello. I hope you're well. I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be a few more people that's going to be joining us today. Um, so I'll just give them a few seconds. If not, then we'll just continue between you and myself, and let's just see how far we get. I'm quite interested about. Can you hear me? Okay. Could you let me know if you can hear me? Okay. I'll make sure. Um, so what I want to talk about today is body shapes. And this has been a very fascinating topic for me for a very long time. Oh, thank you for letting me know. It's been a very fascinating topic for me for a very long time and also confusing. The reason why I say it's confusing is that generally speaking, they say there's about 5 different body shapes, and they usually refer to them as fruits like apple and pear shape. There's supposed to be, there's another one I just cannot recall at the moment, but it's also a rectangular shape, and there's also inverted V, V. Oh, there's just so many for me to actually follow along with. And personally, I think it's too confusing. And I'm sure a lot of people find it confusing because they're not sure what body type they fit into. And I'm not sure what percentage is the biggest percentage of body shapes. Say, let's say, for example, the hour shape. And we tend to be able to put body shapes into eras. Like, for example, Marilyn Monroe was famous for a hourglass shape, for example. But I've always struggled with it when it comes to giving advice to people who want to fit into a particular category of whatever shape they think they are or should be because they've been told or they've read about it somewhere. And what's quite interesting for me is that the fashion industry doesn't really talk about it at all. It's usually consultants who are, the middle stream in order to help people choose a particular line of fashion in which to follow because it suits their particular body type. And recently, I think it's this week or towards the end of last week, that I got on my YouTube channel, someone asked me about body shapes. And I told them that I was going to be doing this today. And it's really difficult to give that advice because there's so much conflicting information out there. And in today's video, all I want to do is simplify that, and hopefully I can do. But I want to go down a different direction that people don't necessarily talk about. I think people generally know their body shape. What they don't know is how to dress their body shape. I'm not sure if anybody does agree with me there. If you do know your body shape, and could you put it in the comments and let me know? For example, I know my body shape is rectangular, so in other words, I am very rectangular in shape. So it basically means I don't have a waist as such in proportion to my hips and my shoulders. That's what it basically means. I don't have much of a butt, but I do have broad shoulders, and I do have, well, I suppose a sufficient amount of breast. And I think that's all women need to worry about, really. So I'm going to break it down and start it from the beginning, from a totally different angle. This is what I like to do because I like to challenge myself and other people to think of it differently. So, and before I actually continue, I was going to leave this to the end, but I'm going to bring it up now. Men's body shape. Men's body shape. It's never discussed. I don't think I've really come across men's body shape in the same context as women's body shapes. Men's body shapes tend to be a V. So men usually have broader shoulders compared to women, not necessarily compared to other men. and they come down narrower as they get to the pelvic area. So that is generally men's body shapes. Is that necessarily the case? No, not necessarily. But generally they are straight up and down. They may have a butt, or may not have a butt, maybe bigger, maybe smaller. But generally that's men's body shape. They don't really have to worry about that too much. But as women, oh, we have to worry about it a lot. A lot. I mean, I was quite surprised when I got this comment this week, and it's like, oh wow. People are worried about their body shapes, and being asked a question about if I could actually go into it in more depth. I could do, but I don't want it to be from other people's information. I want it from my perspective and how I see people. So I've made clothes, lots and lots of clothes for people in the past, and they all come in different shapes. But the key focus I've always considered when I was designing for people is their shoulders, their waist, the bust, their waist, and the hips. Now, I think that is the most easiest way to dress your body. Like, for example, let's take the apple shape. Right, the apple shape is round. And generally speaking, we think people who have a round body shape are plus shape people, generally speaking. And that is not the case. Slim people, how can I put it? Not height-wise, people, it doesn't matter what height you are, or basically what shape you think you are. An apple shape doesn't mean it's a short, overweight person, generally speaking. Anybody could be, I could be an apple shape and I'm 5'6". So I hope that gives you a little bit of context, like the fact that, you know, I'm 5'6" and I'm basically straight up and down, don't have much of a waist. And I think that's where all the difficulty comes in, is that when you start putting people into these categories, they kind of fixate on the fact that they are this shape. And I've done that with myself, and I'm described as a brick or rectangular in shape. Because when you see that visually, you just think a brick hasn't got no shape. I mean, whatever angle you turn it, it hasn't got much shape. I do have a little bit of a butt, I must admit, it's not that, it could be more, maybe less. And I do have a bit of a breast, so, you know, and you can meet someone else who's a rectangular in shape and is flat chested and doesn't have a butt, but we're still rectangular in shape because we're thinking about the waist. And that's where I think the problem comes in. So I want to bring this back to the beginning from the perspective of when we all more or less dress the same. And as I've been thinking about this topic and how I was going to approach it, and I wanted to come from a different angle, like I need to stop saying, Colleen, is that if you think about it in the context of Western culture, as you can tell, I'm English born. So I've been surrounded with imagery of, particularly Western women and body shapes, and it's a bit different body shapes within cultures, and that's a fact. People dispute that, but it is a fact. And I'm going to come from the angle of when we went to school. So I'm kind of starting from the beginning. When we attend school, like primary school, and it's probably called something different from where you are in the world, but in England we call it primary school, and then you go to secondary school or higher school. But I'm going to go back to when I was at school. So we went to primary school. Back then we didn't have a uniform when I was attending school. So that's the reason why my mum made us amazing clothes and everyone just loved what we were wearing. But now in primary school, children do wear uniforms. And uniforms are standardised. They are basically straight up and down. They don't consider the apple shape, they don't consider the hourglass shape for obvious reasons, because these young people are starting to grow. So we are kind of, how do I put this, told in a way through shapes through our uniform how we are going to be growing. So as we grow, so once we get into secondary school or higher education, higher school, as our bodies start to shape, uniform never changes. The shape of a uniform never changes, yet a young lady's body will eventually change as she starts to become a young lady and leave school. And once you get the age of 16, 18, when you leave school, that's when we are more or less aware of our body shapes and whether we fit into certain categories in order to buy clothing that suits our body shape. But we're not taught that. So when you think about it, we're not taught that necessarily in magazines, unless it's something that's very topical and political, then it will be mentioned. But generally speaking, it's not. So you've got this problem of people not knowing what body shape that they are, and if they do, can they go into shops in order to buy what they need? Because clothing in shops are by size, and size doesn't necessarily take on board, let's say, for example, 5 different body shapes. It doesn't. Generally speaking, it takes on one body shape, which tends to be straight up and down, so rectangular. So if you look at fashion shows, for example, you will find that a lot of the models on the catwalk are very thin. Obviously, not obviously, but they are starting to think about other body shapes now. But they tend to be in balance, so they definitely need broad shoulders. I don't think I've ever come across a model on the catwalk who has sloping shoulders. The sloping shoulders are like this, and there's lots of people with sloping shoulders. So generally speaking, you have straight shoulders. And the reason for that is that garments hang better. So if you are a person who has sloping shoulders, you do know what I mean. If you have sloping shoulders, a lot of garments don't fit that well. So for example, if you have straps, they'll tend to fall off you a lot more often. And blouses and jackets and cardigans and things like that will tend to bag around the armholes. So the only way you can get away with that is to have more angular shape is shoulder pads, and shoulder pads comes in all different depths. So that's one way of kind of altering, if you like, your body shape, but I digress a little bit. So when you look at the fashion, it is geared at one particular body shape, even though we don't perhaps realize that it is. But once you look at models and the body shape of a model, then you can see that they are very rectangular in shape, and they have to be in order to, did I say they have to be? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah, they have to be for the fashion industry, in order to hang garments from the shoulders, because that's where garments are hung from, your shoulders. And then it drapes over whatever contours you have over your body. So when it comes to body shapes, I personally don't think people should focus on body shapes. I personally think people should focus on their shoulders, their breasts, their waist, and their hips, because that's generally where garments will fit. So if you think about it, for example, I'm wearing a jumper and I've got a polo neck underneath here, and they are sitting on my shoulders. Don't have any shoulder pads because I've got straight shoulders, so that's fine. But if you're a person who has sloping shoulders, the weight over that, so become the issue of better fitting garments, and I think that's key to body shapes, is to have shoulder pads. And don't be too hard on yourself if you have sloping shoulders and you're finding that you're having to wear shoulder pads and you don't like shoulder pads. I can understand where you're coming from. Um, but as I said, shoulder pads come in different widths, so just focus on the right depth of shoulder pads that suits your body shape in order to give you that angle that you want for your clothing. Yes, you can get clothing that fits sloping body shapes, and that isn't a problem. It'd be amazing, absolutely amazing, if we could see a lot more people with garments that fit them well and they have that sloping shoulders. Whenever I see anybody with sloping shoulders and they made an effort to admire their sloping shoulders, be in love with their sloping shoulders and garments that fit them gorgeously, it's like, wow, it's like someone's actually enjoying their body shape. But if you don't like the fact that that is the case, then shoulder pads is the only direction you can go. And perhaps choosing the right garment for yourself if you don't like shoulder pads. At the moment, as far as I am aware, you can't have any kind of plastic surgeries to lift your shoulders, can you? I don't know. I don't think you can, not yet anyway. And if you can, don't. Well, it's your body, but I wouldn't recommend going there. No, no, no. Could they do that? That would be crazy. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, shoulders. The only way around that is shoulder pads or finding garments that fit your sloping shoulders. But for most people, it will be a case of having shoulder pads because of the garments that you buy. That's the reason. So moving on to the next shape, which is going to be the boobs. And I'm going to go back to the fashion models, and I think I will do during this live, because that's what I'm not saying we fixate, that is not a word, is it? On models, but that's what we are given, aren't we, as a benchmark for what the next trend is in fashion, what we should be wearing in fashion, what young people should be wearing in fashion, not necessarily old people, because no one really cares about old people. But I think we need to, it's like I said, it's a benchmark, and we all know about it. We all are fed images about it every second, whatever platform, on TV, everywhere, magazine, billboards, wherever you look, you know, that typical body shape is what we're told to aspire to, I suppose, and without them actually saying that. So I think the things you need to work on for your body shape is definitely shoulders. And you could still be pretty much my body shape and have sloping shoulders. Now, I don't know what that would be called, because it will be like a brick shape, I suppose, a tower, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm not sure about my shapes. But yeah, I could still have sloping shoulders if it was part of my DNA. So yeah, we're working on the bust. So the bust is a case of they all come in different sizes, different shapes, as we all know. Does the fashion industry cater for it? No, they don't. They are starting to make an effort to put models on the catwalk that are have a bit more bosoms, but they're only at the start. They're only at the start with that. Some women don't like to show it off. Fine. Some women do. Fine. Some women like to have implants, and therefore you're changing your body shape if you are a person that wants to be in a category of what body shape you are. But I personally think that no matter what size your bust area is, you need to find a way of enjoying it, what you have. I don't want to sound as though I'm dictating. I suppose I am a little bit, aren't I? But I just like it when women embrace what they have. And I don't think I'm not sure, is it because I'm getting old? But I definitely think that we need to be able to tell the generation that's coming up that your body is acceptable, your body is beautiful. Stop putting us into categories. And if you need to make improvements, then if they're not cosmetics, like I said, the shoulders, as far as I know, there's no surgery. Hopefully, there won't be. Then you can make those adjustments with shoulder pads or choosing the right type of garment that suits that particular body shape. But there is a limit. There isn't that much out there. So it usually is a case of people going to have them altered to make sure that they do fit them beautifully. But the breast is something that I think there's a lot of what's the word? A lot of ways in which the breast area is catered for, basically because of this big, massive boom in women having breast surgery. And so I definitely think that is catered for, depending on the size. And also, we need to think about the back, because people have broad backs and narrow backs as well, and that can affect the way your bust area is balanced out. Let's put it. The smaller the back, and if you've got big boobs, can cause many problems. And I don't think people realise, well, they probably do realise, that a lot of your body shape is about, it's hereditary, which isn't really talked about, and we should do. So yeah, we shouldn't. And I'm going to start right there, because I'm not going to dictate to anybody. I just want to tell you what I think body shapes are, and how I'm not really into following body shapes. So what I want you to focus on is what I'm going to be telling you today, which is going to be about the shoulders and how you can remedy that, which I have just done. The breast it's difficult with the breast, because it's such an explosion of what we can do with our breasts now. And that's basically because of the muscles within the breast, that we can do all these types of surgeries. We just have to be careful about our backs. And like I said, you can have a broad back or a narrow back, and yeah, a medium-sized back. Backs, do they actually play a role in our body shapes? Well, yeah, they do. But I mean, I've always been described as having a broad back. And when you hear that word, having a broad back, it just sends you in a direction like, does that mean I'm got a manly back? Because men are traditionally meant to have broad backs, isn't it? So a woman doesn't like to hear that she's got a broad back. Like, for example, my sister, my middle sister, she doesn't like to hear the phrase that she's got a broad back, because it just puts that image in her head that, that she's she's not going to like me if she's watching. Yeah, so if you mention a broad back, it kind of means you're a bit butchy, sort of thing. All these negative connotations for women is so unfair. But yes, but when we think about broad backs, it's generally a male thing. So we need to just focus on the breast area, because we know that's more associated with women. And yes, men these days are starting to have breasts, but we won't go there. So once you're happy with your proportions of your breast, garments look amazing. You don't really need to do anything, whatever breast shape you have. If you are totally flat, then there are bras that can help. But if you don't like wearing bras, people don't like wearing bras. I don't always like wearing bras. And you enjoy the being flat, then enjoy it. I enjoy being flat. I'll admit, I've got one or two garments that I purposely made without putting that much darting to the front, because I like the look. I like the look of being. I should wear that one day in one of my outfits of the day. Yeah, probably will actually. But it's more towards spring, summer, so you probably have a while to wait for that. But yeah, it's just play around, have fun. So if you're a person that does have breasts and you don't want to have breasts, then don't make garments or buy garments that don't show it off. It's liberating, actually. Really is liberating. So yeah, the breast area is a very difficult area to actually talk about, because you can easily make changes to that. Now, the waist. So we focused on the shoulders, and we know ways around the shoulders, and there isn't anything else really you can do about it, because as far as I'm aware, like I said earlier, the breast is, I'm going to say it's up to you. You can do whatever you want with your breast, but I hope the advice I've just given does help. Now, the waist. Now, I've come across this, and I don't know, that women who want a really small waist are either wearing corsets for long periods of time. I don't think that's healthy. Or they're having ribs removed. Ooh, for waistlines? No, I don't have a waist. But one way I get around that is to wear a belt. Yeah, it really is a belt. And I don't do it in order to give myself a waistline. I wear belts to complement whatever it is I'm wearing. I personally don't think I dress my body shape. What I do is I dress, when it comes to accessories, my garment that I'm wearing. Yeah, I just thought that now, really. That's what I do. I dress what I'm wearing, or I dress what I see in my head that I want to portray. Because sometimes there is an issue with whatever you see in the mirror, someone else sees you differently. And I've only recently come across this, and I find it totally fascinating. Is that that recently I've lost weight, and it's due to ill health. No diet. I've never dieted in my life. Well, tell a lie. I did diet once, once in my life that I can remember, when I was at school. Yeah, when I was at school, I went on the digestive biscuit diet, which lasted about 3 days. My mother's cooking is just too good. That's it. That's what I can vaguely remember, going digestive biscuit diet. Gosh, what we are taught is, I don't even know what I was trying to lose, because when I was younger, I was so thin. It's like, I don't know. It's just crazy. But it's ill health anyway. And my husband, my family have been telling me that I look really, thin. I'm like, I can't see what they're seeing, because what I see is my old self. Yes, my family know that, I've been through ill health, and that's the reason for it. But I can't see it. Even now, after what's about 2, 3 years now, I eat the way I've always eaten, more or less. My illness has played a part in some things I can't eat because I love chocolate. But I can't see it. So when I think it's body dysphoria, something like that, I think. Body dysphoria. Oh, I'll probably pronounce that right. If anybody knows the correct word, just let me know. So sometimes whatever someone else sees in your body shape, but you don't see it, then that's fine. And I'm going to come on to that a bit later, how I describe that. But going back to the waist, oh, we need to breathe. We need to breathe. It comes from the chest area, doesn't it? But yeah, it's crazy when I hear people actually go that far to those extremes in order to have a smaller waist. Oh, yeah, it's difficult. I personally don't think you should, but the choice is yours. I just think that we need to think about dressing our outfits. And if you think about dressing our outfits in a way, dressing that body shape, for example, whether it's an hourglass, whether it's a rectangular or an apple shape, just enjoy dressing you. I think is going to be key. Yeah, definitely. The next one is going to be the hips. Right, hips. The term childbearing hips. And that's a very cultural thing, isn't it? childbearing hips. Um, yeah, it just balances out, doesn't it? Whether you've got big hips or small hips, it's beautiful. We need hips in order to walk and stuff. And it's really is strange to me how we would put people into categories for body shapes and how we should dress them. All you need to think about is how you're going to dress your shoulders, your breast, your waist, and your hips. Everything else will fall into place. That's how I see body shapes. That's it. But saying that, there's one more thing that is going to be your personality. Personality. You've got to dress your personality. I love it when people dress their personality and they've literally thrown the book out the window when it comes to body shapes. Dressing your personality is, oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now I'm going to go back to I'm always going back to my sisters, aren't I? So I'm going back to my middle sister, who definitely dresses her personality. And coming from the background that I am as a designer and a teacher, I can see how the industry has paved the path of how we need to think about fashion. So my sister and my younger sister, we always tease my middle sister, because when she buys something and she comes to some family event, she's so excited. It's like, look what I bought. And me and my younger sister go, really? And she has a very similar body shape to us both, but she's a lot more top heavy. And yeah, it just makes us laugh. But as sisters, we've always done it. We'll always tease each other. I'm a sister that doesn't like, my sisters don't like come shopping with me. When I used to go shopping when I was much younger, my sisters just would not go shopping with me, because I was the sort of person for, like, if I saw someone on the rail, I was like, have you seen how they've sold that? Really? And they're selling that for that much? And my sisters were like, I hate going shopping with you. Why do you always nitpick everything? I know, but look at it. I mean, the threads are even falling apart. Seriously. So yeah, for decades, my sisters haven't come shopping with me for that reason. So I started to drag my mother shop. Yeah, she doesn't really enjoy shopping with me, so I just really do it on my own. Sometimes I may drag my husband, but I still shop on my own. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, everyone has a personality. And I think that needs to be part of the equation, because it really isn't talked about a lot or at all when it comes to people who consult on body shapes. And I think they definitely leave that to the last equation to how they're going to dress somebody, because they look to the fashion industry and the new trends or old trends or whatever trend is trending, that they will dress somebody. All we need to think about is two lines: straight lines and curved lines. So if you are a more straight person, you don't really have much of a waistline, even if you have a sloping shoulder, you need to think more of curves. And I suppose that's where it comes for me, where I like a lot of garments that are wrapped around my middle. So that goes to show that I really don't care about my waist, because I love gathers and folds, and they tend to, oh, this sounds really silly, and add weight depending on the fabric and the design. But I have it around my tummy, my back tummy. I just love it. If you know me, then you know that's what I'm about. So yeah. So if you tend to be an angular person and you want to soften your look a little bit more, then wear clothing that has more curves, shaping to it. Now, if you are a more rounded type of person, or you've got more curves and you want to lessen that curviness, then it's all about angles, because that's where the eye will go. So those are the only two things we need to think about, is straight lines and curved lines, because those are the only lines you can get. Obviously, it depends on angles, yeah, and curves. And like I said, that they're all about angles, but that's how we need to think about dressing. Try and dress your personality as well, because people always leave that to the last. It's a case of sometimes when I dress myself, and people used to, not so much now, I don't think, or if they do, they're keeping it under their breath, would judge me about how I'm dressing. But the way I dress per se is that some of the garments that I wear, I I wear on purpose. In other words, I design them in a way that I want to test out a particular type of design that I'm thinking about. Um, Whether I'm actually going to be teaching it, or I'm going to be, wearing it myself to see how comfortable it is, so that I can give advice. And I've always done that, and I enjoy doing that. So if you saw some of my garments and you think, "Really, Colleen, why are you wearing that?" It's like, well, why not? And I feel comfortable doing it, because when you think about it in this context, fashion models, look what fashion models wear from so many different designers. And then when you see them in, I suppose, in a way, in their own environment, do they necessarily dress the way we see them on the catwalks? I wouldn't say they do. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So yeah, I definitely think you need to think about your personality. I think people worry too much about fitting in, and it's hard. And this has been a really hard topic to talk about as well. So that I can give advice that people don't have to worry. Don't worry about it. Really, don't worry about it. Let me just, before I'll ask any questions, I just want to focus on what I've been saying all along, is that all garments hang from your shoulders. Yeah, you would all agree. Yeah, whether you have straight shoulders or sloping shoulders. Yeah, all garments need to fall from your shoulders. So just worry about your shoulders, and like I said, shoulder pads will help if you want to lift that a bit so garments look better. Fine. Worry about your best shape. I wouldn't say worry about it. Enjoy it. Whether you are a person that wants to have them enhanced or reduced or whatever, women, as women, that's what makes us women, isn't it? So just enjoy it. Your back, that's either broad or not. And most people don't worry about their backs, really, from what I have experienced. Yeah, as long as your back will help you to look better at the front if you are aware of it. But don't worry about it too much, because most people don't see the back of, or don't pay attention, I should say, to any details to the back of a garment. The waist. Ooh, you either have a waist or you don't, isn't it, really? It's how small do you want that waist to be, isn't it? You either have a waist, and I think what they define a waist for an hourglass is, I think it's about 3 inches, and then you could say that you're an hourglass. But these days the waists are getting smaller and smaller, and I don't think that's normal, especially when it comes to proportions. I have seen beautiful women who are, I hate this phrase, plus size, with the smallest waist. Oh, it's amazing. And they have, a lot on top and a lot on the bottom. Oh, beautiful body shapes. I don't know. I think when it comes to fashion and designing, it's like, why are we designing clothes for these body shapes? It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you are aspiring fashion designer, one thing you should do is people watch. Get yourself into a cafe or garden or beach, anywhere that you feel comfortable, and just people watch, and you will actually see people who actually don't care about, well, they probably do care about how they look, but are happy with the way they look. And then you obviously see some people that are not. But if you are an aspiring fashion designer, that's one thing you should be doing. That's a tip. So yeah, so I've lost track now. So let's so I was talking about the waist, wasn't I? So yeah, the waist. Oh, you hear that? You either have a waist or you don't. And one way, I'm not going to mention anything about any kind of operations, but one way you can, if you are struggling, is to wear belts. Yeah, it's probably wear belts. And remember, we need to breathe. Yeah, remember that. And hips. Oh, hips. Yeah, you either have them or you don't. See, that's what I don't get. Why is it so complicated? Why do we have to fit into about 10, 11, 12 different body shapes? I really don't. So all we need to focus on shoulders, bust, waist, and hips for fit. And we either are straight, depending on whatever category you are, or we have curves. And you can be a very thin person and still have curves. And then how you address that is whether you're going to wear angles, straight lines, or curves. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. But before I move on to your questions, I just want to quickly just talk about one particular body shape that has come to my attention is the thin, thick influencer is a body shape. But I've got to be talking about this soon. Thin, thick influencer. I was like, seriously, I've never come across that before. So I did a little bit of research into that, and basically it's a modern day world. So a thin, thick influencer, that is the phrase, is a person that is very thick, very small, I should say, on top. They can still have breasts, tiny waist that is like, are you actually human? And the biggest hips possible because they want a big butt, as they say. So yeah, that's a new body shape that I suppose, is going to have, well, it's got a name, hasn't it? I've just told you. But it's amazing, but also crazy. Yeah, thin, thick influencer. We're learning something every day. So let me know in the comments what body shape you are. And I'm going to go to comments now and see what questions you're asking. I hope I haven't bored you. I hope I've put things into a little bit of context. I mean, I'll sum up towards the end if you are a person that is worried, what to think about and what not to think about. So yes, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me. Colleen, I recently been considering menswear. Ooh. Do men have body shapes like women are described? No, they don't. It really is that. I haven't researched that much, but from when I've been teaching, we actually focus on that. So their shoulders are usually broader. You can get men's body shape that are very much up and down, very straight, but they tend to be younger men as they, in puberty and starting to grow into young men. And the body shape that they're looking for is usually that because they want to build their shoulders and their chests and their six pack, and it's usually that kind of shape that they're looking for. But you can get the straight, which is a boyish kind of, I suppose only two really, isn't it? Straight up and down. And that, the men's shape, men are so lucky. They really are. They don't have to worry that much, do they? I hope that answers the question, Dee. Good night. Oh, okay. Bye-bye, good night. And dear. Dee thinks that they're a brick. Yeah, a bit like me, yeah. A brick. I don't get, because, when you look at a brick, it's flat, all, all four sides. So we only tend to think of yeah, body shapes. I suppose not too well. Body shapes obviously three-dimensional, but yeah, and a bit three-dimensional. Yeah, something to think about. Samina, a biscuit diet. I know, and I love biscuits. I don't eat them as much as I would like to at the moment. But yeah, the things we do to ourselves as young ladies, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just so that we could fit in. And I don't even know why I did that. Well, I did because I was following, friends and stuff, and it's a big thing in our year. Um, yeah, I don't know what we were supposed to be losing. I really don't, because I didn't have anything then. And how old was I? About 13. 13, 14. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where I was going to lose this weight from, but there you go. Um, have to go, Colleen. Oh, well, I'll watch catch up on the recording later. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yep, no problem. Sebastian, hi, how are you? I hope you're well. Let me just quickly say, Sebastian, right, I read your comment that you left on my last video, and I think I might use that in my next live. It's such an interesting one. I've never really considered it. I want to do a little bit of research. I do have my thoughts on it. But I don't. I'll give you a little tip now. Is I really don't like it. I can't get my head over why they want us to be aware of this, which I'll discuss. Yeah, I think I will definitely let that be my next live, which I'll tell everybody while you're here. And my next live is going to be about my thoughts on how Italian, British, was it Italian, British, German, or how they dress. That comes through quite a lot on the internet. Yeah, and I'm keeping my face straight so you don't have a clue about what I'm thinking. Okay. Focus on body shapes in fashion contributes to eating disorders. It definitely does. Definitely. I've had so many students, young girls, who what I used to hate was that a lot of people would deny the fact that a lot of girls would get their ideas from magazines. They do. Because as a teacher and had my form, it's literally like, will you put those magazines away, please, and just pay attention to what I'm teaching? And they are just so enthralled and so absorbed into these magazines that it's difficult to find young people with a textbook with words that they've actually written down themselves. It really is hard, and I'll always stand by the fact that magazines, media, especially now, do have a large part to play in how women, young girls, see their bodies, and they shouldn't be interfering with their bodies at this very young age as well. Their bodies need to grow, and they also need to think about their heritage as well, for the reasons why they have butts, they don't have a butt, they have breasts, they don't have a breast, sloping shoulders. That's all to do with your genes. So we need to address that, especially in schools. I think that's where it needs to happen. I should be wearing glasses, really, to read this. Hello everyone, I'm here again. Late to the party. You're fine. It's okay. You're fine, honestly. I'm an inverted triangle. Or or a cross or pizza slice. That's interesting. Okay then, pizza slice. Do you actually enjoy Peachy? Do you actually enjoy your body shape? Because I think it's amazing, and we just so much. I'm going to try my utmost to try and see if I can. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Get people to enjoy their body shapes. I've seen so many amazing body shapes, and it's like, oh, we need to be sharing this, through social media. And yeah, there are so many amazing body shapes out there, women. Hello, I'm late too. Hello from Nashville. Oh, thank you, Nashville. Hi, hi. Oh, and it's fine. It really is fine. This is going to continue. I do this every other Tuesday. Let me just put a date in here. for the next one. So you can put it in your diary. And before we go, we've got about another 10 minutes. Can you please let me know what body shape you think you are in the chat, please? Because I'm nosy, basically. I just love to know. That's if you know. If you don't know, also put that in the chat if you're not sure what body shape you are. But please don't have any excuses for reason why you are late, because you know this wonderful internet of ours. I mean, I've got someone from Nashville. I mean, thank you very much for being there. It's the evening, early evening in England. So I'm trying to choose this at a right convenient time for myself and also for my subscribers as well, and audience. So I hope that helps. And also the fact that I have to be aware of my voice, so I try to make sure that I don't do a lot of talking, especially every other Tuesday, which is really happy about. I don't do a lot of talking, so I can save my voice for you. So yeah, my shoulders are wider than my hips. So that's how we describe. Yeah, if your shoulders are wider than your hips, then you're inverted. But Kathy, Crafty Scorpio, do you actually enjoy your body shape though? Do you love it? Is there anything that you want to change about it? Just let me know in the comments. Sometimes it's difficult, especially when my pants. This is from Peachy. Sometimes it's difficult, especially when my pants love to slowly creep down. I do apologize for laughing. I really do. I just had this vision, but I know I've seen a lot of people who suffer from that, and there's too many. There really is too many. And one of the most difficult garments to fit is trousers, is pants. They are really difficult because there's so many different bottom shapes, if you like. And in order to get that fit right, you tend to need to have tailored pants or tailored trousers in order to get a beautiful fit. And may also be with your waist as well, and so also the type of fabric. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people with ill-fitting pants. Nothing really you can do about it if it's ready to wear. And like I said, it's the only way is to have them tailored. Or make them yourself, or find someone that can tailor them, especially if you're a person who loves pants, and I do. So I have a large collection of pants that I've made myself, and also I do have one or two that I have purchased. I don't know why I keep wearing them. I think I just wear them because of the design, really. But yeah, but I do apologise for laughing. Please don't take it to heart. Yeah. Show hide. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. Okay. Right, craft scope. No, I wish I had more of a waist. All right. I'm stuck wearing an A-line stuff most of the time. Oh yeah, that's a good way to show off to give yourself a natural waist though, A-line, but it does depend on your fabric though. So the heavier the fabric is, the more it will stick out at the hemline away from your body. So it gives that angular sort of shape. So it will not give the illusion that your waist is smaller, or give the illusion that you have a waist. So yeah, you're on the right lines there if that's the direction you want to go into. Definitely. As a Muslim, we don't have any focus on knowledge on our body shapes. That is so amazing. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you so much for letting me. Oh gosh, I'm going to time. I've waited 5 minutes. Let me just say this. Because I think I said it earlier, it's very much a Western thing, and that's the direction in which I'm coming from. Within my culture, Caribbean culture, we focus more on the posterior, the bottom. And my family, generally speaking, don't have a butt. Most of my family are flat. literally, I think it's just me and my younger sister who just about have a butt. On my father's side, it's the same. That the family, no, we don't. We don't do butts. But yeah, it can be a very cultural thing. And as Sebastian has just said as well, that as he is a Muslim, that they don't really have much knowledge on body shapes. And Sebastian, do you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing, or what's your opinion on that? Then, if you could just let me know quickly, because I want to be sensitive, but I'm a person that obviously, because as a fashion designer, I like body shapes, and I want to be able to make garments that fall on different types of body shapes. That's what I've always done in the past, and what I'm hoping I'm sharing with my videos, even though obviously, I'm making garments just for a brick shape. That is, I don't know. Yeah, it's a difficult one, that it really is, because within the Muslim and how I see it, that a lot of beautiful bodies are hidden behind traditional garments and dress. So I suppose it's only family members and you know close friends who get to see your gorgeous shapes. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, quickly, let me see. Eh, it's a good thing, right? Okay, that's fine. We don't have body complexes. Yeah, that is true. Or unhappiness about our bodies. I couldn't put it out perfectly. That is so true. Yeah, we're given a lot on our plates to worry about when it comes to fashion. And we really have given a lot, unnecessarily so. So yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that. Colin, I still wish you could apply to be a or to be honest, Project Runway. Yes. Um, I do like the concept of Project Runway. Um, I just don't like the competitiveness of Runway. Um, yeah, it'd be nice though, because yeah, I just like challenging myself when it comes to my community that I've managed to grow on YouTube, and hopefully, you are being inspired by what I make for your body type. Oh, these questions are coming through quickly before I go. Right, before I continue reading what in the chat, let me just quickly say, let me just kind of recap what we need to worry about when it comes to body types. And I'm glad what Sebastian has said about the fact that within a culture they don't have to worry about it so much like we have, like I have, to a very tiny perspective I've had on it. And it is about growing up, and like I said, I don't know why I went on the biscuit diet, but because I had nothing to lose anyway. But we are given too much on our plates, too much confusion. So what you need to just focus on is going to be your shoulders, your breasts, whatever you want to do with your breasts, your waistline and your hips. That's what gives you your shape. And then whatever else is added to that is going to be muscle and fat. But that's what you need to worry about. And then think about angles, because we only have straight or curved lines, and just play around with those. And once you kind of are happy with testing that out, you will be happier, in my personal opinion, to find that particular garments that you would like and that suit your body and you like seeing on your body. And please do not forget your personality. So if you are struggling with the advice that you either given, whatever category you're going into, or what I've actually said to you, and you like, right, I'm just going to wear this, and you look at the mirror and that person, you, is smiling back at you with what you're wearing, that's your personality. Don't change it. Don't change, just go with it, because you can carry it off. Seriously, I watched my middle sister for years. She's happy. Me and my younger sister will tease her. She's still happy, because that's what sisters do, don't they? But yeah, think about that. Yeah, your personality. So all those. curved lines, personality. Just 3 categories you need to think about. I'll go back to chat and then I'll go because my voice is starting to go a bit. Let me see. Oh, she's not offended at all. Oh, thank you very much, Beachy. Thank you for letting me know. Sometimes patterns and taking measurements is odd, yeah, because they always say your hips are supposed to be so much more than your hips are supposed to be so much more than your hips if you are doing it right. I know it's confusion. It's just no, really. We are all comfortable with our bodies. I totally agree. Yes, our husbands are very close female. And tips. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Thank you. And that should be so amazing. Really would be to not worry about it. But we are modest with everyone. We don't go naked in front of others. All right. Okay. Thank you for educating me. Yeah. Thank you so much. I find laughing is better than crying, especially when trying on ready to wear clothing and swimwear. Fishy, you're so funny. Well, long torsos. Yeah, long torsos, which I also have. Long torsos is when you tend to have shorter legs and torso is here. So I've got longer legs and shorter torso, and usually if you have a long torso, most garments and most people don't wear garments on their natural waistline because the natural waistline is quite high actually. So if you focus on your natural waistline, you'll be able to find a balance within garments that you're either sewing or buying. So if you're not aware of that, then yeah, it's a case if you bend or you get a piece of string and wherever it falls, that'll be your natural waistline, and it literally is higher than where everybody thinks that it is. One of the reasons why the industry makes it lower than where we should be naturally having it is all about proportions. Everything's about proportions. Fashion models are about proportions. If you actually measure a fashion model, it's all about proportions because that's how they want us to see clothing. And that's the reason why I'm refashioning as well, because refashioning is going to distort that. And once that is distorted, then we won't see any other way like how we see clothing as proportional, because that's how I suppose they want us to see beauty, and beauty comes in many forms. Thank you so much for joining me. I have so enjoyed talking to you guys. And if you do have any more questions and comments, this video, I'm going to put it live on my channel, then please do continue this conversation. So like I said, I really have enjoyed it. So I need to go now because I need to have something for this throat of mine. It's time to go. And I think I put is the 30th is going to be the next one. Please do check out my community tab because that's where I'll put all the information for the next chat. So enjoy your day, whether it's the morning, the evening, the afternoon. Enjoy it, and I will see you real soon. Thank you for joining me.